Watch this. 2 words. That's all the text said. Natalie Parker, 41, mortgage processor, stared at her phone. Wedding day. 6 hours until she became Mrs. Grant Collins. The video loaded. Her best friend Simone adjusting Grant's tie. Their fingers brushed. Too familiar. Too comfortable. They laughed like they shared a secret. Her chest tightened. The video was dated 6 months ago. A logo flickered in the corner, some brokerage firm she'd never heard of. Grant's voice, barely audible.
Just get through today.
Get through what? Her hands went cold. 20 guests were already gathering outside. The garden looked perfect. White roses lined every chair. The caterers had arrived early. But what else had she missed?
Before we begin, please subscribe and like, it really helps. Wishing you health and happiness. All right, let's begin.
Chapter 2. 8 months before. Natalie met Grant Collins at a Starbucks on a Tuesday in March. She'd spilled coffee on her laptop bag. He handed her napkins without being asked. Here. His smile was easy, not trying too hard. She dabbed at the leather. The bag was new, a reward after closing a brutal refinance case. He read her badge, asked about her work. Most people's eyes glazed over when she mentioned mortgage processing. His didn't. They talked for 20 minutes. Her coffee went cold. He asked real questions about fraud detection, pattern recognition, document analysis. He worked in operations consulting. Traveled constantly. He was tired of hotels and airport bars. I want something real, he said. He asked for her number. She gave it. The first date was sotto sopra. White tablecloths and expensive wine. He asked about her childhood. Her parents still in West Baltimore. Her church. Her aunt. He shared his story. Columbus, Ohio. Divorced parents. Father spiraled into debt. Mother worked 3 jobs. It shaped me, he said. Something warm spread through her chest. She'd dated men who ran from commitment. Grant seemed different. By the 3rd date, he talked about futures. Ours. Not mine or yours. His razor appeared in her bathroom. His coffee pods in her kitchen. It felt natural. 2 months in, he suggested keys. Made it sound practical. She agreed. By August, they were looking at joint accounts. He showed her spreadsheets. 1 account for bills, 1 for savings, 1 for wedding funds. Modern couples share finances, he said. Why keep things separate? Natalie hesitated. She'd seen loans collapse when couples split and couldn't untangle money. But Grant had plans, numbers, vision. Trust me, he said. She signed the forms at Bank of America on a Saturday. The banker paused. Gray hair, kind eyes. You sure? You're not married. Grant smiled. Said they would be soon. Natalie signed. He proposed in October. 6 months after coffee. Her living room after Thai takeout. He knelt with a ring that matched her style exactly. Marry me. Yes came before thought caught up. They set the date for June. 8 months away. In December, he mentioned someone new. An event planner named Simone. She'd offered to help with the wedding. Natalie was drowning in vendor contracts. The offer sounded like rescue. Simone was energy and warmth. Hugged Natalie immediately. Took over logistics, vendors, timelines, deposits. You be the bride, Simone said. I'll handle details. They became friends. Coffee when Grant traveled. Shopping. Girls' nights. By March, Simone had keys to Natalie's townhouse. For deliveries, she said. Wedding stuff arrived during work hours. It made sense. Everything made sense. Looking back now, standing in her prep room with that video on her phone, Natalie saw it differently. Grant's questions hadn't been interest. They'd been research, learning her expertise, understanding fraud detection so he could avoid it. The fast proposal hadn't been passion. It had been timeline. Get engaged. Get access. Get married before she looked closely. Simone hadn't appeared by chance. She'd been planted, right when planning got overwhelming. right when someone needed access to Natalie's home. Her mail, her documents. Natalie pressed play again. Simone's hand on Grant's collar. That ease, that familiarity. Grant's voice, barely audible. Just get through today. She'd thought it meant a presentation. Now she wondered if it meant the wedding. The ceremony. The moment everything became legal and binding. Her chest tightened. Outside, her mother directed the florist. Caterers unloaded equipment. 20 guests gathering. The day had momentum. Stopping required explanations she didn't have. Starting might mean walking into their trap. She looked at the video file. Anonymous sender. No number. Watch this. Someone had filmed this 6 months ago. Saved it. Waited until her wedding morning. Who? Why warn her? She opened her email. Scrolled back through months of messages. Looking for what she'd missed. Her breath caught. Account notifications. Password resets. Security alerts. Confirmations. Dozens of them. Messages she'd ignored during wedding chaos. Because Grant and Simone handled so much. Because everything seemed fine. Her hands shook. She opened the first one. Credit card confirmation. Account opened March 20th, 3 days after their first coffee date. He'd started before their second date. Another message. Personal line of credit. May 15th, right after she'd introduced him to her parents. Store card. July 8th, the same week they'd discussed joint accounts. Her vision blurred. She hadn't been building a life. She'd been building a credit portfolio. Her phone buzzed. Text from Simone. Bright. Enthusiastic. Hearts and exclamation points about today's beauty. Performance. Natalie stared at the screen. The woman who'd sent hearts was the same woman in the video. Touching Grant's tie like she'd done it 100 times. Her stomach twisted. She opened her banking app. Their joint account. The balance was wrong. $3,000 less than it should be. Transaction history showed a wire transfer. Yesterday at 4:17. To an account she'd never seen. Her hands went cold. Yesterday, while she'd been at work finishing loan files. Making sure everything was handled before her honeymoon. He'd moved her money. The phone buzzed again. The anonymous number. Check your credit report. Natalie's heart stopped. She opened the app. The one she checked quarterly. The report loaded. 7 new accounts. All opened in 6 months. All in her name. Credit cards. Store cards. A personal loan. All with balances. All sent to addresses she'd never lived at. Total debt $63,000. All hers. All her responsibility. All destroying her credit. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. This wasn't an affair. This wasn't cold feet. This was fraud. Systematic. Professional. Planned. And she'd walked into it smiling. Chapter 3. The Mask. Simone arrived in perfume and energy. There's my bride. Garment bag over her shoulder. Smile too bright. Natalie stood frozen. Phone face down on the vanity. Credit report open. 7 accounts. 63,000. Simone moved through the room like she owned it. Hung the bag. Adjusted flowers. Eyes scanning. Looking for problems. She'd always done that. Fixed things. Anticipated needs. Natalie had loved it. Now it felt like control. Surveillance. Simone talked about the florist drama. Wrong flowers for table 6. She was fixing it. Always a crisis. Always a solution. Always Simone managing. Natalie picked up her phone. How long have you known Grant? Simone's hands paused on the zipper. Just a second. Couple years. Why? From where? Simone waved it away. Some conference. Work thing. Why ask now? Natalie turned the screen toward her. Played the video. Simone adjusting Grant's tie. Fingers brushing. That laugh. The room changed. Simone went still. What is that? You tell me. Her mouth opened. Nothing came out at first. She said it was nothing. A work thing. Helping before his presentation. Natalie asked if she touched all colleagues like that. Simone's voice hardened. Asked if Natalie was really doing this on her wedding day. Natalie said someone sent it. Anonymous. This morning. Simone reached for the phone. Too fast. Natalie pulled back. That urgency felt wrong. Simone wanted to know the sender, not explain the content. Natalie asked why she'd been at Grant's place 6 months ago. Not his place, Simone said. A hotel. Before client dinner. Natalie mentioned the logo. Bottom right corner. Simone squinted. Said she didn't see anything. Lie. Her jaw tightened. Eyes shifted. Natalie asked what Grant meant. Just get through today. Simone said probably presentation nerves. Someone was trying to mess with Natalie. Ex-girlfriend maybe. Don't let them win. She reached for Natalie's hand. The gesture looked rehearsed. Said Natalie loved Grant. He loved her. Don't let garbage ruin everything. Natalie wanted to believe it. Simple explanation. Jealousy. Misunderstanding. But she'd spent 12 years reading lies. Simone was lying. The tells were small. Going still when the video played. Focusing on sender instead of content. Claiming not to see a visible logo. Natalie pulled her hand away. I found 7 credit accounts. Simone's face went pale. Recognition, not confusion. She knew. What accounts? Cards. Loans. All in my name. Last 6 months. Silence. Simone's phone buzzed. She glanced at it. Expression shifted to worry. When did you find out? This morning. You're telling me instead of Grant? Wrong question. Should I tell Grant? Simone's eyes met hers. Something cold underneath. You're smarter than I thought. The words landed wrong. Like admission. Did you help him? Simone didn't answer. Just checked her buzzing phone. Did you know he was stealing? Not stealing. Simone's voice went flat. Borrowing. Your credit's excellent. You're basically free money. Free money. Not friend. Not person. Resource. Natalie's chest hurt. All those coffee dates. Girls' nights. Wedding planning. All of it was work. Access. How many accounts total? You'll figure it out anyway. Simone moved to the door. Said Natalie could cancel. Make a scene. Tell everyone. But the accounts were open. Cards active. Money moved. Damage done. She paused at the doorknob. Or get through today. Smile. Marry him. Maybe this stays contained. Contained? To what happened, instead of what could happen next. Threat veiled as advice. Your choice. She opened the door. Natalie's mother stood there, smiling, excited. Everything okay, girls? Simone's voice shifted instantly. Warm. Bright. Perfect. Just bride nerves. She looked back at Natalie. Cold eyes behind warm smile. See you out there. Then gone. Natalie stood alone. The mirror showed a stranger. Someone who'd ignored every warning. Her phone buzzed. The anonymous number. New message. Simone Webb. Daughter of Marcus Webb. Family business. Natalie's stomach dropped. Not contractors. Family operation. Bigger. More organized. More dangerous. Another message came through. Emily Preston. Victim number 12. 22 women total before Natalie. Trying to stop them before 23. 22 women. Natalie sat. Legs wouldn't hold her. 22 had sat here. Trusted. Believed. Signed. All destroyed. She thought about her job. Mortgage processors couldn't have bad credit. Grounds for termination. They hadn't just stolen money. They'd designed a trap that would cost everything. Career. Home. Future. Another text from Emily. Reporting didn't help. Natalie had signed everything. Joint accounts. Authorized users. Technically legal. Police said civil matter. Civil meant no arrests. No justice. Just years fighting in court while credit burned. Emily had lost everything. House. Car. Savings. 3 years to recover. 3 years. Natalie stood. Looked at the wedding dress. Months planning this day. Flowers. Music. Menu. All celebrating a lie. But she wasn't the other 22. She was a fraud specialist. 12 years finding patterns criminals hid. Grant and Simone made one mistake. They'd targeted someone who knew their game. She opened her phone. Screenshots. Credit report. Accounts. Video. Emily's messages. Sent everything to 3 emails. Work. Personal. Cloud storage they couldn't access. Evidence. Preserved. Backed up. Then texted her mother. Ready now. Time to dress. She was walking down that aisle. Letting them think they'd won. Then destroying them completely. Chapter 4. The System. Natalie's mother helped her into the dress. Silk whispered against her skin. Perfect fit. 3 fittings to get it right. Oh baby, you're beautiful. Natalie looked in the mirror. The woman there looked like a bride. Calm, happy, ready, all performance. Her mother fussed with the veil. Adjusted the train. Talked about her father's pride. Natalie smiled, nodded, said right things. Inside, her mind raced. Mom, I need 10 minutes alone. But sweetie, the schedule. Please. Her mother's face softened. She thought it was nerves. Of course, baby. She kissed Natalie's cheek and left. Door clicked shut. Natalie grabbed her phone, locked the door, sat in her wedding dress. Work to do. She called Bank of America. Navigated the automated system. Reached a representative. Reported fraud. Unauthorized wire transfer. $3,000. The representative explained joint account rules. Both parties had equal access. Natalie said she wanted everything frozen anyway. He hesitated, asked if she was sure. It was her wedding day. How did he know that? She confirmed. Freeze it all. Done. Case number assigned. Investigation would take 5 to 7 business days. Too slow, but something. Next call. Credit card company. Different system. Same process. She reported 7 unauthorized accounts. The representative sounded skeptical. 7 accounts showed her social. Her address. Her employment. Natalie insisted she hadn't applied. Identity theft, then? Yes. Had she filed a police report? Not yet. She needed to do that first. Then call back with the report number. Bureaucracy. Red tape. Exactly what they counted on. She hung up. Police next. Non-emergency line. Reported identity theft. The dispatcher asked questions. Seemed confused when Natalie said it was her fiancé. If this was domestic dispute. It wasn't. It was fraud. The dispatcher explained the complexity. If the person had authorized access to her information, prosecution became difficult. Civil matter. Not criminal. Exactly what Emily warned about. She took the report anyway. Got a case number for the credit companies. But prosecution would be difficult. Because Natalie had authorized access to her information during their relationship. Legal didn't mean right. Last call. Her lawyer. The one who'd handled her mortgage 3 years ago. He answered quickly. Congratulated her on the wedding. She said it was supposed to be. Then explained everything. He listened without interrupting. When she finished, silence. Then he asked about total amounts. 63,000, maybe more. He whistled. Said it was serious, but problematic. She'd signed joint account paperwork. Authorized user agreements. Criminally weak. Civilly stronger. They could sue for fraud. Misrepresentation. Emotional distress. How long? Years. Expensive. 20,000 minimum in legal fees. She closed her eyes. Asked what to do. Document everything. Save emails. Texts. Transactions. Freeze accounts. File reports even without prosecution. Create paper trail. She was doing that. He said good. Then told her not to marry Grant today. She almost laughed. Said she'd figured that out. They set a meeting for Monday morning. 9 a.m. Bring everything. He said he was sorry. Everyone was sorry. No one could help. She hung up. 8:45. Hair and makeup should have started 15 minutes ago. Knock on the door. Her mother's voice. Everyone was waiting. Natalie called back. 1 more minute. Her mother said they were really behind schedule. Schedule. Like any of this mattered. But she needed them to think it did. Needed Grant and Simone to believe she was going through with it. She stood. Mirror again. Dress perfect. Hair and veil would be perfect. Everything would look perfect. While she destroyed them from inside. She unlocked the door. Her mother rushed in. Looked at her face. What's wrong? Nothing. Just nervous. That's normal, sweetheart. Natalie smiled. Let her believe it. Let everyone believe it. The truth would come soon. Her phone buzzed one more time. Emily again. A different kind of message. It contained names, addresses, dates. 22 women. Their locations. When they'd been targeted. How much they'd lost. A pattern spread across 8 states. 3 years. Always the same method. Coffee shop meet. Fast proposal. Joint accounts. Helpful friend who takes over logistics. Wedding as deadline. Then disappearance. Drained accounts. Ruined credit. Lives destroyed. Emily had spent 2 years tracking them. Finding victims. Building evidence. But evidence without criminal charges meant nothing. The system protected people like Grant and Simone. Because they stayed just inside legal boundaries. Used relationships. Manipulated trust. Made victims complicit in their own destruction. Emily's message continued. She'd tried everything. Police. Lawyers. FBI. Consumer protection agencies. Everyone said the same thing. Civil matter. Relationship dispute. Technically legal. The victims had signed the papers. Authorized the access. Given permission. That's what made it brilliant. And evil. They turned consent into weapon. Natalie stared at the list. 22 names. 22 lives. She recognized some cities. Baltimore. Charlotte. Nashville. Richmond. Always mid-sized cities. Always professional women aged 35 to 50. Always similar income brackets. They weren't random. They were selected. Targeted. Researched. Emily's final message was simple. She couldn't stop them through the system. The system was designed for different crimes. Different criminals. But maybe Natalie could stop them a different way. She was still inside. Still had access. Still had today. One chance to expose them publicly. Permanently. In a way that couldn't be buried in bureaucracy. One chance before they disappeared like they always did. Natalie looked at her wedding dress in the mirror. 22 women hadn't had that chance. They'd discovered the truth too late. After the wedding. After the access was complete. After the damage was done. She had something they hadn't. Warning. Time. Evidence. And a very public stage. Her mother was fussing with the veil now. Talking about timeline. Guests. The ceremony. Natalie let her talk. She was thinking about something else entirely. About how to destroy someone in front of 200 witnesses. How to make it impossible for them to disappear this time. How to create a scene so public, so documented, so undeniable that the system would have to respond. She picked up her phone one more time. Opened the camera app. Started a new video recording. And slipped the phone back into her bouquet. Lens facing out. Recording everything. Evidence. Real-time. Witnessed. Undeniable. If the system wouldn't protect the 22 women before her, she'd build a new kind of evidence. The kind that went viral. The kind that ruined reputations. The kind that made disappearing impossible. She smiled at her mother. I'm ready now. Her mother beamed. Let's make you a bride. No. Let's make them famous. Chapter 5. The Aisle. The garden was perfect. White roses on every chair. String quartet playing pachelbel. Guests in summer dresses and light suits. Smiling. Waiting. Phones ready for photos. Good. Natalie stood at the entrance. Her father's arm linked through hers. You look beautiful, baby girl. She squeezed his hand. He had no idea what was coming. The music shifted. Wedding march. Everyone stood. Grant waited at the altar. Navy suit. Confident smile. Simone stood beside him. holding Natalie's bouquet, playing her role. They both thought they'd won. Natalie walked slowly. Let them see the dress. The moment. The fairy tale. Her phone recorded everything from inside her real bouquet. The one she'd refused to hand over to Simone earlier. Every step. Every face. Every reaction. Evidence. She reached the altar. Her father kissed her cheek. Handed her to Grant. Grant took her hands. Eyes warm. "You're stunning." She smiled. Said nothing. The officiant began. Standard wedding language. Love. Commitment. Partnership. Natalie watched Simone instead. Simone's phone buzzed. Once. Twice. 3 times. She shifted. Glanced down. Expression changed. Confusion. Worry. The bank alerts were hitting. Frozen accounts. Fraud investigations. Someone was noticing. Perfect. The officiant continued. Building toward vows. Natalie felt everyone watching. Her mother in the front row. Her aunt. Co-workers. Church friends. 200 witnesses. 200 phones. 200 potential pieces of evidence. The officiant reached the critical moment. "Grant, do you take Natalie to be your lawfully wedded wife?" Grant's voice was clear. "I do." "Liar." "Natalie, do you take Grant to be your lawfully wedded husband?" The garden went silent. She looked at Grant. Really looked. 8 months of performance. Research. Extraction. 22 women before her. "Actually," she said clearly, "everyone needs to see something first." Grant's expression changed. Mask slipping. "Sweetheart, what?" She pulled out her phone. The recording one. Turned to face the guests. "My name is Natalie Parker. I process mortgages. I find fraud." Confused murmurs. 6 months ago, I met Grant. He seemed perfect." She held up the phone. Played the video. Grant and Simone. Too familiar. "I thought this was an affair." Gasps. Her mother's hand to her mouth. "It's not. It's business." She swiped. Showed the credit report. 7 accounts highlighted. Grant and Simone target professional women. Build relationships. Drain resources. More gasps. Phones coming out. People starting to record. Good. Record everything. "I'm number 23. She showed the list. 22 names before hers. Someone in the crowd said, "Oh my God." Grant's jaw tightened. Hands clenched. Simone's face had gone cold. Natalie continued. Her voice carried across the garden. She'd called banks this morning. Police. Lawyers. Everything was frozen. Flagged. Investigated. She turned back to Grant. "You wanted a wedding. Here's your wedding." She gestured to the guests. Their phones. All recording now. 200 witnesses. 200 videos. All showing this moment. Grant's face went red. "You can't." "I already did." She looked at the crowd. Her voice got louder. She explained the pattern. 8 states. 3 years. 22 women. Always the same method. Coffee shop. Fast proposal. Joint accounts. Helpful friend. Wedding deadline. Then disappearance. Emily stood in the crowd. She'd driven 3 hours to watch this. Emily Preston. Victim 12. "Stand up." Emily stood. Tears streaming. "Tell them." Emily's voice shook but carried. He'd married her too. Drained everything. She lost her house. Car. Credit. Everything. Another woman stood. Older. Gray hair. "I'm victim 7. Linda Morrison. Charlotte. He took 40,000. Another stood. Victim 15. Rachel Kim. Nashville. 55,000. They'd come. Emily had brought them. The ones who could afford to travel. The ones who wanted to see this. 6 women. 6 victims. All standing. All testifying. The phones kept recording. Grant looked trapped. Cornered. Simone was already moving. Trying to slip away through the crowd. Stop her. Natalie's father moved faster than she'd ever seen. Blocked Simone's path. Simone tried to push past. He didn't budge. "You're not going anywhere," he said quietly. More people moved. Forming a circle. Blocking exits. Grant tried next. Bolted toward the parking lot. 3 of Natalie's cousins tackled him. Literally tackled him. In the grass beside the rose-covered arch. Someone called 911. Multiple someones. The officiant stood frozen. Microphone still in hand. Natalie looked at the camera phones. Still recording. Hundreds of angles. This would be everywhere by tonight. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, local news. Grant and Simone's faces. Their names. Their method. All public. All permanent. All searchable. They'd never disappear again. Never target another woman. Never hide behind technicalities and civil law. Because the internet didn't care about civil versus criminal. The internet cared about justice. And virality. Sirens approached. Multiple cars. Grant was yelling now. Threats. Lawyers. Lawsuits. Let him. Every word was being recorded. Simone had gone silent. Cold. Calculating. Looking for escape routes that didn't exist. Police arrived. 6 officers. They'd clearly expected domestic dispute. Wedding drama. They got something else entirely. Natalie approached the lead officer. Calm. Professional. She explained clearly. Identity theft. Wire fraud. 23 victims across 8 states. Pattern of behavior. Evidence documented. She handed him her phone. Showed the credit report. The accounts. The wire transfer. Emily's research. Then pointed to the 6 women still standing. They'll testify. All of them. The officer looked at Grant. At Simone. At the crowd of recording phones. This wasn't going away quietly. He called for backup. More sirens. Natalie's mother appeared at her side. Face pale. Shaking. Baby, I don't understand. I know, Mama. I'll explain everything. Her father was still blocking Simone. His face was granite. She'd never seen him so angry. Daddy, let the police handle her. He stepped aside. Barely. Let 2 officers move in. Simone finally spoke. Her voice was poison. This won't stick. We didn't break any laws. One of the standing victims laughed. Bitter. Maybe not. But good luck getting another job. Another victim. Another anything. She held up her phone. Already posted. Already going viral. Simone's face changed. She understood. Criminal charges might not stick. But court of public opinion? Already decided. Already spreading. Already destroying them in ways the legal system never could. Grant was being handcuffed. Still yelling. About rights. Lawyers. Illegal detention. The officer stayed calm. Explained they were being held for questioning. Multiple fraud allegations. Multiple victims. Multiple states. Federal agencies would be contacted. FBI. Consumer Protection. Wire Fraud Division. This was bigger than local police now. Natalie watched them get loaded into separate cars. Grant's confident smile was gone completely. He looked small. Scared. Simone looked furious. Betrayed. They'd thought she'd be too embarrassed. Too proud. Too desperate for the fairy tale. They'd underestimated her. The cars pulled away. The garden fell quiet. 200 people stood in silence. Phones still raised. Still recording. Natalie turned to face them. Her voice was steady. She apologized for ruining their day. For wasting their time. For the drama. But she didn't apologize for stopping them. Her mother hugged her. Crying. Her father joined them. I'm so sorry, baby. I should have seen. No, Daddy. They were professional. This is what they do. Emily approached. The other victims followed. They didn't say anything. Just surrounded her. A circle of women who understood. 23 became 7 standing together. One of Natalie's cousins started clapping. Then another. Then the whole garden. Applause. For what, she wasn't sure. For not getting married? For creating a scene? For fighting back? The string quartet looked confused. Lost. Someone yelled for them to play something. Anything. They started Vivaldi. Spring. Triumphant and bright. Weird choice for a destroyed wedding. Perfect choice for everything else. Natalie looked at the white roses. The perfect arch. The carefully planned details. She'd wanted a fairy tale. She'd gotten something better. Truth. Her phone buzzed. The real one. Not recording. Text from unknown number. Video of Grant and Simone being loaded into police cars. Already had 50,000 views. Hashtag wedding fraud exposed. Hashtag 23 victims. Hashtag justice. Already trending in Baltimore. Within an hour, it would be national. By tomorrow, international. Grant and Simone's faces. Their names. Their method. Searchable forever. They'd never work again. Never target another woman. Never disappear into another city. The internet was permanent. And brutal. And exactly what they deserved. Chapter 6: The Aftermath. The guests didn't leave. They milled around the garden. Talking. Recording. Posting. Sharing. The caterers looked confused but kept setting up. Food was food. Someone would eat it. Natalie's mother suggested they cancel everything. Send people home. Natalie shook her head. Let them stay. Let them talk. This was working. The more people spread it, the better. Emily and the other victims sat at a table. Sharing stories. Comparing notes. Building their case. A reporter showed up. Local news. Someone had called them. Then another. Then 3 more. Natalie's father tried to block them. She stopped him. Let them in. She gave interviews. Calm. Professional. Detailed. Explained the pattern. The method. The victims. The evidence. Showed her credit report on camera. The 7 unauthorized accounts. Showed the wire transfer. $3,000. Yesterday. Showed the video of Grant and Simone. 6 months ago. The reporters ate it up. Human interest. Crime. Romance. Betrayal. Justice. Perfect story. It would run on every channel tonight. Emily gave interviews too. Explained how she'd tracked them. Found the victims. Built the evidence. How the system had failed. Civil versus criminal. Technicalities protecting predators. How Natalie had done what the system couldn't. Exposed them. Publicly. Permanently. Made them too famous to hide. The other victims spoke. Each one adding pieces. Patterns. Amounts. Timelines. A map formed. 8 states. 31 victims total. Emily's research had found 9 more since this morning. All with similar stories. All with destroyed credit. All with lives upended. None with criminal charges. Until maybe now. One reporter asked what Natalie wanted. She thought about it. I want them prosecuted. All of them. She meant Grant. Simone. Marcus Webb. The whole operation. But if that doesn't happen? She gestured to the phones. The cameras. The spreading posts. This works too. Public exposure. Permanent record. Unemployable. Untouchable. Unmarketable. Couldn't target victims if victims could Google their names. Couldn't build trust if the first search result was fraud exposed. Couldn't disappear if the internet never forgot. The reporter nodded. Understood. This was new kind of justice. Crowdsourced. Viral. Permanent. The system might fail. The internet wouldn't. By sunset, the view count hit 2 million. Hashtag wedding fraud exposed was trending nationally. News outlets were picking it up. CNN. Fox. MSNBC. Local affiliates across the country. Natalie's phone hadn't stopped ringing. Interview requests. Podcast invitations. Book deals. She ignored most of them. But answered some. The ones from other victims. Women who'd seen the story. Recognized the pattern. Realized they weren't alone. 14 new names by 8 p.m. 45 total victims now. Emily was building a database. Names. Dates. Amounts. Evidence. A class action lawsuit was forming. Civil, but powerful. 45 victims. Combined damages over $2 million. Hard to dismiss that. Federal agencies were paying attention too. FBI called at 9. Wire fraud crosses state lines. Federal jurisdiction. They wanted everything. Evidence. Testimony. Timeline. Natalie sent files. Dozens of them. 3 years of emails. Texts. Bank statements. Credit reports. Emily sent hers too. Years of research. Victim testimony. Pattern analysis. The agent said it would take time. Months. Maybe years. But they were building a case. Real criminal charges. Federal charges. Wire fraud. Identity theft. Conspiracy. Racketeering maybe. Marcus Webb's name came up. Simone's father. The operations head. They'd been watching him. Suspecting. Never had enough evidence. Now they did. 45 victims. All willing to testify. All with documentation. All demanding justice. The party wound down around midnight. Guests finally leaving. Still talking. Still posting. Still sharing. The story wouldn't die tonight. Or tomorrow. Or next month. It was permanent now. Natalie sat at a table. Still in her wedding dress. Eating cold chicken and drinking wine. Her parents sat with her. Silent. Processing. Finally her mother spoke. "I'm so proud of you." Natalie looked up. "I almost married him. But you didn't. You fought back." Her father nodded. Squeezed her hand. "You saved yourself. And maybe others." Emily approached. Sat down. 45 victims confirmed. More calling every hour. How high will it go? Hundreds maybe. They've been doing this for years. Natalie felt sick. Hundreds of women. "We're organizing," Emily continued. Support group. Legal fund. Advocacy. For what? Laws. Real ones. Making this actually criminal. Currently, relationship fraud had legal gray areas. Consent muddied waters. Civil remedies were slow and expensive. But with enough victims, enough press, enough attention, maybe laws could change. Maybe the system could adapt. Maybe future women wouldn't have to choose between embarrassment and justice. "I'm in," Natalie said. Emily smiled. "I know." They sat together, watching the garden empty. The perfect wedding setup slowly dismantled. Roses wilting. Music gone. Chairs being folded. "You were supposed to get married today," Emily said quietly. "I did something better." "What's that?" "I survived." Emily raised her wine glass. "To surviving." Natalie clinked it. "To destroying them." They drank. Tomorrow would bring lawyers. Federal agents. More interviews. Tomorrow would bring credit repair. Financial recovery. Long battles. But tonight? Tonight they'd won something. Not marriage. Not happily ever after. But truth. Exposure. Justice. The viral kind. The permanent kind. The kind that stuck. Chapter 7 The Investigation. Monday morning came too fast. Natalie sat in her lawyer's office. 9 a.m. sharp. She'd brought everything. Laptop. Files. Backup drives. Printed statements. Years of evidence in 3 boxes. Her lawyer, David Chen, spread it across his conference table. "This is comprehensive," he said. "I'm good at paperwork." He smiled. "That's clear." They spent 2 hours reviewing. Building timeline. Identifying patterns. David took notes. Asked questions. Flagged specific documents. "The joint account paperwork is problematic," he said. "I know. You authorized him. Signed willingly. No coercion. He lied about who he was. Fraud by deception. It's civil, not criminal. Unless we prove conspiracy. Pattern. Intent." He pointed to the list. 45 victims now. 50 by this afternoon. This proves pattern. Can we use it? In civil court, yes. Criminal is harder. He explained the challenges. Each victim's case was individual. Separate jurisdiction. Different evidence standards. But collectively? Collectively they had power. Class action, he said. All victims together. One massive lawsuit. Against who? Grant. Simone. Marcus Webb. Any business entities they used. What do we win? Money. Damages. Injunctions preventing them from doing this again. Not jail. Probably not. But bankruptcy. Public record. Permanent legal judgment. It wasn't enough. But it was something. How long? 2 years minimum. Maybe 5. Natalie felt the weight of that. 5 years fighting. There's another option, David said. What? FBI is interested. Federal wire fraud. They called me this morning. Her heart jumped. And? They want to interview you. Today if possible. I'll do it. He made a call. Spoke briefly. Hung up. Agent Morrison will be here at 11. 1 hour. They spent it organizing. David creating exhibits. Labeling evidence. Building presentation. When Agent Morrison arrived, she was younger than Natalie expected. 35 maybe. Sharp eyes. No nonsense demeanor. She introduced herself. FBI Financial Crimes Unit. They sat in David's conference room. Agent Morrison set up a recorder. Tell me everything, she said. Natalie did. Started with the coffee shop. Ended with the wedding. Every detail. Every red flag. Every moment. Agent Morrison took notes. Asked clarifying questions. Focused on technical details. Account numbers. Transfer dates. IP addresses. Email headers. Things that built criminal cases. When Natalie finished, Agent Morrison sat back. You understand what they did? Stole from me. More than that. They ran a sophisticated identity theft and wire fraud operation across multiple states. That's federal jurisdiction. Can you prosecute? We're building a case. Marcus Webb has been on our radar for 2 years. 2 years? He's careful. Uses family members and associates. Keeps himself removed from direct contact. But you suspected. We knew. Couldn't prove. She pointed to Natalie's evidence. This changes that. You documented everything. Saved everything. Connected Grant and Simone directly to Webb. How? Agent Morrison pulled up something on her laptop. Turned it toward Natalie. Business registration. SLW Consulting. Registered in Delaware. Owners Simone Webb, Grant Collins, Marcus Webb. Their partners, Agent Morrison said. Official business entity. Filed taxes together. Natalie stared. It was right there. Public record. How did I miss this? Most people don't think to look. But you gave us Grant's full name. Simone's. We ran corporate searches. She showed more documents. Bank accounts. Business filings. Tax returns. All connecting the 3 of them. All showing pattern. All proving conspiracy. We have 12 victims who'll testify, Agent Morrison continued. Emily Preston's research helped us find them. Only 12? The others are scared. Embarrassed. Don't want public attention. Natalie understood. She'd almost been one of them. What about the 45 who came forward? We're interviewing them all. Some will testify. Some won't. Is 12 enough? Combined with documentary evidence? Yes. Agent Morrison's phone buzzed. She glanced at it. Expression changed. Simone's lawyer just called. She wants to make a deal. What kind of deal? Testimony against her father. Grant. The whole operation. Natalie felt cold. In exchange for what? Reduced charges. Possibly immunity. No. The word came out hard. Agent Morrison looked at her. She has information we need. She destroyed lives. I know. But this is how federal cases work. We flip lower players to get the top. She's not a lower player. She's Marcus Webb's daughter. Exactly. She knows everything. Natalie wanted to scream. This was the system. The one Emily had warned about. Deals. Immunity. People walking free. David put a hand on her arm. It's not your decision. It should be. But it's not. The FBI builds cases their way. Agent Morrison's expression softened. I understand your anger. But convicting Marcus Webb matters more than Simone. Why? Because he'll do this again. With different people. Different victims. Unless we stop him. She showed Natalie another file. Marcus Webb's history. 3 decades. 7 different operations. Always relationship fraud. Always professional women. Always just inside legal boundaries. Hundreds of victims. Maybe thousands. Never convicted. Never stopped. He's been doing this since the 90s, Agent Morrison said. Simone grew up watching. Grant was recruited 5 years ago. They're replaceable. She leaned forward. But if we get Marcus? If we prove conspiracy? If we show pattern going back decades? Then what? Then we end it. Permanently. Natalie looked at the file. Decades of victims. Lives destroyed. She thought about the 45 women. The hundreds more. The ones who hadn't come forward. What does Simone's testimony get you? Wire transfers. Business records. Victim selection process. Training materials. Everything. And she walks? Probation. Restitution. Permanent record. But no jail. It felt wrong. Completely wrong. But stopping Marcus felt right. Talk to Emily, Natalie said finally. And the other victims. This affects them too. Agent Morrison nodded. Fair enough. She made notes. Closed her laptop. We'll be in touch. This investigation will take months. Maybe a year. Are you prepared for that? Do I have a choice? You could walk away. Let us handle it. Natalie thought about that. Going back to work. To normal life. Letting the system grind forward without her. She couldn't. I'm in. Whatever you need. Agent Morrison smiled. Good. Because media attention helps. Keeps pressure on. Keeps this public. I thought federal cases were confidential. Usually. But this one's already public. Might as well use it. She stood. Shook Natalie's hand. You did good. The wedding exposure was smart. It was desperate. Same thing sometimes. When she left, Natalie sat alone with David. How do you feel? He asked. Angry. Exhausted. Scared. Scared? That Simone walks. That Marcus beats this. That it was all for nothing. It's not nothing. You stopped them. Exposed them. Built a case. We don't have justice yet. No. But we have momentum. Her phone buzzed. Emily. The text was simple. Victim count just hit 100. 100 women. All coming forward. All sharing stories. All demanding justice. The support group was meeting tonight. Local community center. Anyone affected could attend. Natalie replied she'd be there. Then opened her laptop. Checked the hashtag. Wedding fraud exposed was still trending. 5 million views now. Grant and Simone's faces everywhere. Their names. Their method. One article called them, the marriage fraud couple. Another, wedding con artists caught on camera. Another, viral bride exposes identity theft ring. The internet had done its job. Made them famous. Made them searchable. Made them unmarketable. Even if they avoided jail, they'd never work normally again. Never blend in. Never target another victim. That was something. Not justice. But consequences. David was watching her. What are you thinking? That the system is broken. But we're fixing it anyway. How? One victim at a time. One story at a time. One viral video at a time. He smiled. You sound like an activist. I sound like someone with 100 allies. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She answered. A woman's voice. Shaking. Scared. Is this Natalie Parker? Yes. I saw your video. I think it happened to me too. Natalie grabbed a pen. Tell me everything. Chapter 8. The network. The community center was packed. Folding chairs in rows. All filled. People standing in back. Lining the walls. Over 200 women. All victims. All angry. All ready to fight. Emily stood at the front. Running the meeting. Organized. Focused. She'd done this before. After her own victimization. Built support networks. Advocacy groups. Now it was bigger. National. Coordinated. Natalie sat in front row. Listening. Learning. Emily explained the legal options. Class action lawsuit. Federal investigation. State-level complaints. She explained the realistic outcomes. Civil damages would take years. Criminal charges were uncertain, but exposure was working. They can't hide anymore, Emily said. She projected the hashtag count. 8 million views. 12 million by tomorrow. News coverage in 40 states. International attention. This is unprecedented, Emily continued. Relationship fraud usually stays hidden. Victims stay silent. Not anymore. Women raised hands. Shared stories. Same pattern. Every time. Coffee shop or online dating. Fast connection. Quick proposal. Joint accounts. Helpful friend. Wedding deadline. Then destruction. Amounts varied. 20,000 to 200,000. Average was 65,000. Total damages across 200 victims $13 million. 13 million. The room went silent at that number. One woman stood. Older. 60s. Gray hair. I lost my retirement. 30 years of savings. Gone. Another stood. I lost my house. My kids' college fund. Another. I lost my business. Had to declare bankruptcy. The stories piled up. Each one worse. Each one devastating. Natalie felt sick. She'd escaped early. Before the real damage. These women hadn't. Emily brought them back to action steps. Step 1: document everything. Every victim needed complete records. Step 2: join the class action. Strength in numbers. Step 3: contact FBI. The more victims who testified, the stronger the case. Step 4: public advocacy. Share stories. Raise awareness. Change laws. That last one got attention. What laws? Someone asked. Emily explained. Currently, relationship fraud had weak legal protection. Consent made it complex. Civil remedies were slow. But with enough pressure, laws could change. Several states were already considering legislation. Specific statutes criminalizing pattern relationship fraud. If victims advocated, if media stayed focused, if pressure stayed high, change was possible. A woman in back raised her hand. What about Marcus Webb? Emily's expression hardened. FBI is building a case. Could take a year, maybe longer. Will he go to jail? Honest answer? I don't know. His lawyers are good. Evidence is complicated. But you're trying. We're trying. Another woman spoke. What about Simone? Emily paused. Looked at Natalie. Natalie stood. Faced the crowd. FBI offered her a deal. Testimony against Marcus in exchange for reduced charges. Angry murmurs rippled through the room. I know, Natalie said. I'm angry too. But Agent Morrison says it's how they build cases. She should go to jail, someone shouted. I agree. But if her testimony convicts Marcus. She let that hang. The room debated. Heated. Emotional. Some wanted Simone prosecuted fully. Others wanted Marcus more. Emily called for a vote. Non-binding. Just to gauge feelings. Convict Simone only 43 hands. Convict Marcus only 67 hands. Convict both 90 hands. The room wanted both. But if forced to choose, Marcus mattered more. Natalie understood. Marcus was the source. The architect. The reason this existed. Simone was terrible. But replaceable. Marcus had been doing this for 30 years. Hundreds of victims. Multiple operations. Stopping him stopped the source. I'll tell Agent Morrison, Natalie said. We want both. But Marcus is priority. Nods. Agreement. The meeting continued. Organizing subgroups. Legal team. Media team. Advocacy team. Support team. Each victim could join one. Contribute skills. Build collective power. Natalie joined all of them. She had time now. Her job gave her leave. Stress-related. Understandable. Her credit would take years to fix. But she was working on it. Freezing accounts. Disputing charges. Filing reports. Building paper trail. It was exhausting. Time-consuming. Frustrating. But necessary. After the meeting, Emily pulled her aside. Media requests are still coming. You should do some. Which ones? National morning shows. Podcasts. Magazine features. Why me? Because you're articulate, professional, sympathetic, and you fought back successfully. I got lucky. Warning came in time. Exactly. You show it's possible. That victims can win. Natalie thought about that. Being a face for this. A symbol. It felt heavy. But if it helped other victims come forward. If it kept pressure on. If it led to justice. Okay, I'll do it. Emily smiled. Good. Because Good Morning America called. They want you tomorrow. Tomorrow? 6 a.m. Live. National audience. Natalie's stomach flipped. What do I say? Tell your story. Show the evidence. Explain the pattern. Ask others to come forward. What if I mess up? You won't. You've done this before. The wedding, remember? The wedding. 200 guests. 200 phones. Performance under pressure. This was just more of that. Fine. I'll do it. Emily hugged her. Thank you. That night, Natalie couldn't sleep. She practiced answers, anticipated questions, reviewed her timeline, made sure facts were accurate. Evidence was clear. Story was compelling. 6 a.m. came fast. The car service picked her up at 4:30. Drove her to the studio. Manhattan. She'd never been on television before. Makeup artist worked on her face. Hairstylist fixed her hair. Wardrobe consultant approved her outfit. Navy suit. Professional. Trustworthy. They put her in the green room. Coffee. Fruit. Nervous energy. A producer briefed her. 7-minute segment. Host would ask 4 questions. Keep answers concise. Look at host, not camera. Then she was walking onto set. Bright lights. Cameras. Live audience. The host, Karen Mitchell, smiled warmly. Shook her hand. Thank you for coming. Thank you for having me. They sat. Microphones clipped. Countdown started. 5, 4, 3, 2, live. Karen introduced the story. Wedding bride exposes fraud ring. Viral video. 200 victims. Federal investigation. Then turned to Natalie. Tell us what happened. Natalie told it. Condensed version. Coffee shop to wedding. Everything in between. Focused on facts. Stayed calm. Let emotion show but didn't drown in it. Karen asked about the video. The anonymous warning. Natalie explained Emily. Victim 12. The network of survivors. Karen asked about justice. Would they face charges? Natalie explained the FBI case. The class action. The uncertainty. But also the exposure. The permanent record. The inability to hide. Karen's last question hit hard. What do you want other victims to know? Natalie looked directly at the camera. You're not alone. You're not stupid. This wasn't your fault. She paused. They're professionals. This is what they do. They're good at it. Another pause. But we're better at fighting back. Together. She gave the support group website. The hotline number. The resources. Come forward. Tell your story. Join us. Karen thanked her. Segment ended. Natalie sat backstage. Hands shaking. Adrenaline crashing. Her phone exploded. Texts. Calls. Emails. All positive. The website crashed from traffic. Too many people accessing at once. Emily called. Hotline had 50 calls in 10 minutes. We can't keep up. How many victims? We won't know for days. But hundreds at least. Hundreds more. The network was growing. National now. Organized. Powerful. They couldn't be ignored anymore. By noon, 3 senators had tweeted support. Calling for federal legislation. By evening, 2 state attorneys general announced investigations. By midnight, Marcus Webb's lawyer issued a statement. Denying everything. Threatening defamation lawsuits. Empty threats. Truth was a defense. And they had truth. Documented. Proven. Public. Natalie went to sleep that night feeling something unexpected. Hope. Not for easy justice. Not for quick resolution. But for change. Real change. The system was slow. But it was moving. And they were pushing it. Chapter 9. The Break. 3 months later, things shifted. Agent Morrison called. Urgent. We have a problem. Natalie's heart sank. What? Marcus Webb is gone. Gone? Fled. We were moving to arrest. He vanished. Where? Unknown. Possibly offshore. Maybe South America. Natalie felt cold. Can you get him back? Working on it. Interpol alert. Border watch. But if he planned this. He probably did. Marcus was smart. Careful. He'd seen this coming. What about Simone? Still here. Still cooperating. And Grant? In custody. No flight risk. His family's in Ohio. Small comfort. What does this mean for the case? It's complicated. We can charge him in absentia. But extradition takes time. How much time? Years potentially. Natalie wanted to scream. We're not giving up, Agent Morrison said. But I wanted you to know. When she hung up, Natalie sat staring at nothing. Marcus had won. At least temporarily. He'd escaped. Left his daughter and partner behind. Saved himself. Typical. She called Emily. Emily took it hard. This is what they do. They run. We should have moved faster. FBI had to build the case. It takes time. Too much time. They sat on the phone in silence. Finally Emily spoke. What do we do now? We keep going. Marcus is gone. But Grant and Simone aren't. Simone has immunity. Partial immunity. For testimony. She still faces civil suits. And Grant? Full prosecution. Wire fraud. Identity theft. Conspiracy. When's trial? 6 months maybe. 6 months of waiting. Of hoping the case held. Of praying Grant didn't flee too. But Grant's ankle monitor made that harder. He was under house arrest. His parents' home in Columbus. Less than ideal. But something. The support network kept growing. Over 500 victims now. Class action lawsuit filed. 13 million in damages requested. Plus punitive damages. If they won, victims might recover some losses. Not everything. Never everything. But something. Natalie threw herself into advocacy. Testified before state legislatures. Lobbied for new laws. Spoke at conferences. Became the face of relationship fraud awareness. She hated it. The attention. The interviews. The public exposure. But it worked. 4 states passed new legislation. Criminal penalties for pattern relationship fraud. Future Marcus Webbs would face real charges. Future victims would have real legal protection. That mattered. Emily's organization went national. Nonprofit status. Grant funding. Full-time staff. They helped victims navigate legal systems. Connect with lawyers. Access resources. They prevented suicides. Natalie learned that part later. 3 women had called the hotline planning to end their lives. Destroyed by shame. Broken by loss. The support network saved them. Gave them community. Hope. Purpose. That mattered more than anything. Natalie's credit slowly recovered. Disputes resolved. Fraudulent accounts closed. Her score climbed back. Not perfect. But improving. She returned to work part-time. Then full-time. Her company had been supportive. Impressed even. She'd identified and stopped a major fraud operation. They gave her a raise. Promoted her to senior processor. Life moved forward. But the case haunted her. Marcus was still gone. 6 months. Then 9. Then a year. No sightings. No leads. No progress. He'd disappeared completely. Grant's trial date approached. Natalie prepared to testify. Emily would testify. 12 other victims. Financial experts. FBI agents. The evidence was overwhelming. Grant's lawyers tried to suppress the viral video. Argued it prejudiced the jury. Judge denied it. The video was evidence. Documented. Real. Jury selection took 2 weeks. Finding impartial people was hard. Everyone had seen the video. Everyone had opinions. Finally they seated 12. 6 men. 6 women. Mixed ages. Diverse backgrounds. Trial started on a Monday in federal court. Prosecution opened strong, showed the pattern, the victims, the damage. Grant sat quietly, suit and tie, trying to look sympathetic. It didn't work. Natalie testified on day 3. Walked through her story, start to finish, evidence by evidence. Grant's lawyer cross-examined, tried to suggest she'd consented. She shut that down fast. I consented to a relationship. Not fraud. You signed the papers, under false pretenses. You gave him your information. Because I trusted him. That trust was manufactured. The lawyer pushed. She didn't budge. Jury watched. Took notes. Looked angry. Emily testified next. Her story. Her losses. Her recovery. Then the pattern evidence. 12 victims. Similar stories. Identical methods. Financial expert showed the money trails. Wire transfers. Account openings. Systematic extraction. FBI agent showed the conspiracy. SLW consulting. Business partnership. Shared profits. Simone testified last. She looked smaller somehow. Broken. Explained her father's operation. How he recruited people. Trained them. Set quotas. Grant had been a top earner. 5 victims in 3 years. Over $300,000 extracted. His cut was 20%. $60,000. His profit from destroying lives. The jury looked disgusted. Defense tried. Argued Grant was victim too. Manipulated by Marcus. Nobody bought it. Deliberations took 6 hours. Guilty. All counts. The courtroom erupted. Victims crying, hugging, celebrating. Natalie felt numb. She'd wanted this. Fought for this. Now it was real. Sentencing came 3 weeks later. Grant got 12 years. Federal prison. No parole. Restitution ordered. Full damages to all victims. He'd never pay it. Didn't have the money. But the judgment stood. Permanent. Public. He walked out in handcuffs. Didn't look at anyone. Natalie watched him go. 12 years. He'd be 54 when released. Career ruined. Reputation destroyed. Google search permanently toxic. Was it justice? Partial justice. Incomplete justice. But justice nonetheless. Marcus was still out there. Still free. Still dangerous. But the operation was broken. The network exposed. The method public. They'd never work the same way again. Natalie walked out of the courthouse. Emily beside her. Cameras everywhere. Press wanting statements. Emily handled it. Thanked the jury. The judge. The FBI. Called for continued advocacy. Stronger laws. More awareness. Natalie just stood there. Exhausted. Relieved. Sad. It was over. And it wasn't. Grant was convicted. Marcus was gone. Simone had immunity. 500 victims were healing. Building lives. Moving forward. Laws were changing. Systems adapting. Awareness spreading. They'd won something. Not everything, but something. Emily squeezed her hand. We did it. Natalie nodded. We did. What now? Now we keep going. Because there would be more victims. More predators. More fights. The system was better, but not perfect. Laws were stronger, but not enough. Awareness was higher, but not universal. Work remained, but they had a network now. 500 women. Growing daily. Survivors who became advocates. Victims who became fighters. Women who refused to stay silent. That was power. That was change. That was justice. Imperfect. Ongoing. Incomplete. But real. Chapter 10. 1 year later. Natalie stood at a podium. Conference center in Washington, D.C. 500 women in the audience. Survivors. Advocates. Allies. First annual Relationship Fraud Awareness Conference. Emily's organization had made it happen. Natalie was keynote speaker. She looked out at the faces. So many stories. So much pain. So much strength. She began. Told them about Grant. About Simone. About Marcus. About the wedding that wasn't. About the viral video that changed everything. About 500 women who refused to be silent. She showed statistics. Progress. Wins. 8 states with new laws. Federal task force established. Victim fund created. Grant in prison. Marcus still fugitive but Interpol hunting. Simone in probation and therapy. Civil lawsuit settled. Victims recovering 15% of losses. Not enough. Never enough. But something. She talked about what remained. More advocacy needed. More laws. More awareness. More support. She asked for commitment. Continued fight. Ongoing work. The room stood. Applauded. Committed. After the speech, women approached. New victims. Needing help. Finding community. Old victims. Sharing recovery. Celebrating healing. Natalie hugged them. Listened. Connected. This was her life now. Mortgage processor by day. Advocate by night. Exhausting. Fulfilling. Necessary. Emily found her afterward. Good speech. Thanks. How are you really? Natalie thought about it. Better. Not perfect. But better. Her credit was mostly repaired. Savings rebuilding. Life stabilizing. She'd started dating again. Carefully. Slowly. Trust came hard now. But she was trying. Any news on Marcus? Emily asked. Not yet. But they're closing in. Assets traced to Panama. Possible sighting. Think they'll get him? Eventually. He can't hide forever. Want to bet? Natalie smiled. No bet. I've learned not to gamble. They walked through the conference. Workshops on healing. Legal rights. Financial recovery. Support circles. Therapy sessions. Skill building. A whole ecosystem built from pain. Transformed into power. That night, Natalie sat in her hotel room. Opened her laptop. Checked the hashtag one more time. Wedding fraud exposed. Still active. Still growing. 20 million views now. Still being shared. Still raising awareness. Grant's face. Simone's face. Their names. Their method. Permanently searchable. Permanently toxic. Permanently warning others. The internet never forgot. That was justice. Viral justice. Imperfect but permanent. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. But something made her. Hello? Natalie Parker? Yes. My name is Maria Santos. I saw your video. I think it's happening to me. Natalie grabbed her notebook. Tell me everything. Maria's story poured out. Similar pattern. Different names. Same method. Coffee shop meeting. Fast connection. Joint accounts suggested. But Maria had Googled. Found the video. Recognized the signs. Before the damage. Before the wedding. Before the trap closed. What should I do? Maria asked. Natalie told her. Document everything. Freeze accounts. Contact police. Join support group. Gave her resources. Numbers. Website. You caught it early, Natalie said. That's good. Because of you. Because you shared your story. I shared. 500 women shared. We did it together. Thank you. You're welcome. Stay in touch. Let us help. When she hung up, Natalie felt something warm. Purpose. Maria was victim number 501. But she'd escape. Protect herself. Avoid the trap. Because of awareness. Education. Community. Because silence had broken. Because victims had become advocates. Because one wedding video had sparked movement. Natalie thought about that day. Standing in her wedding dress. Phone recording. 200 guests watching. She'd been terrified. Angry. Desperate. She'd been fighting for survival. And accidentally started revolution. Small revolution. Imperfect revolution. But revolution nonetheless. The system was changing. Slowly. Inadequately. But changing. Laws were evolving. Awareness spreading. Support growing. Marcus was still out there. Still dangerous. Still free. But his operation was shattered. His method exposed. His reach limited. He'd hurt hundreds. But he'd hurt his last. Because next victims would Google. Would research. would recognize the signs, because next victims had 500 allies. Resources. Support. Because relationship fraud had faces now. Names. Patterns. Public knowledge. Public warning. Public defense. That was what the wedding had bought. Not marriage. Not happily ever after. But protection. For future Natalies. Future Emilys. Future Marias. That mattered. That was enough. Natalie closed her laptop. Looked out at DC lights. Tomorrow she'd fly home. Back to work. Back to normal life. But also back to advocacy. More speeches. More lobbying. More support. The work continued. It always would. Because predators didn't stop. Systems didn't perfect themselves. Justice didn't arrive automatically. It required fight. Constant fight. Exhausting fight. But she had 500 women fighting beside her. Growing to thousands. Eventually millions. Voices that wouldn't silence. Stories that wouldn't hide. Strength that wouldn't break. That was power. Real power. The power of survivors who refused to stay victims. Who turned pain into purpose. Who transformed personal tragedy into public good. Natalie's phone buzzed again. Group text from Emily. Victim count now 520. Keep sharing stories. Keep fighting. Keep winning. 520. Each one a person. A story. A battle. Each one deserving justice. They wouldn't all get it. Systems failed. Criminals escaped. Losses stayed permanent. But they'd get something. Community. Support. Validation. The knowledge they weren't alone. Weren't stupid. Weren't broken. The strength to rebuild. Recover. Reclaim. That was worth fighting for. Natalie replied to the group text. Keep going. We're making a difference. Simple words. True words. They were. One victim at a time. One law at a time. One story at a time. Imperfect progress. Incomplete justice. But progress nonetheless. And that had to be enough. Because perfect didn't exist. Complete was impossible. But better was achievable. They were achieving it. Together. 520 strong. And growing.